What's up, people? Welcome back to Internash. Recently, Gold Coast and Perth were classified as regional areas, which means Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, apart from these three major cities, every place in Australia is classified as regional area. In this video, we are going to discuss what are the pros and cons of living and studying in Australia, how it is going to help you in migration if at all you are interested in staying in Australia for long term, and what is life like in regional areas. So if you're interested in studying in Australia and you want to consider regional areas as one of the options, this video is just for you. So check it out. Before we get into this video, I have to tell you guys that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because we make all the videos for international students who are planning to come to Australia or who are already in Australia. Getting back to the video, now what are these regional areas and why are we discussing that? So if you talk about Australia, there are 25 million people. And out of these 25 million people, almost half of the population live either in Melbourne or Sydney. And that's why government has decided that if people are going to live in Australia, it is going to be easier for them to obtain their permanent residency if they live in regional areas. And that's why they have come up with different laws that is going to attract migrants and international students. Recently, Perth and Gold Coast, which were not regional areas before, are classified as regional areas. So the people who are moving to Gold Coast and Perth are going to get the same benefits which people were getting in other regional areas. Let's discuss what are the pros of moving in a regional area. The first thing is that you get 5 points just to study for 2 years in a regional area. For example, if you come to Melbourne for your bachelor's or master's, you are not going to get those 5 points, which is calculated when you want to apply for your permanent residency. So if you study for 2 years, that's the first thing, that you will be getting 5 extra points, which the people in Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney will not get. If you talk about the other things, the thing that is going to get implemented from 16th of November 2019, that is, if you study for 2 years in regional area, you will be eligible for 3 years of post-study work visa. If I talk about myself, I studied in Melbourne. Because I studied in Melbourne and I started studying in 2017, that's why I'm not eligible to get 3 years of post-study work visa. But if you come to Australia right now, or after this rule is implemented and you study in regional area, then you will get 3 years of post-study work visa, whereas people in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane will get 2 years of post-study work visa, which is 485 subclass. And the third thing, which is super important for international students, is that the cost of living in regional area is comparatively a lot lower compared to Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. If you're living in a bigger city, obviously your rent is going to be higher, the prices of the things that you buy, restaurants, everything is going to be a lot more higher compared to these regional areas. For example, if you're going to Adelaide, which is one of the regional areas, then if you live in Adelaide, you will be able to get an apartment, a room by yourself, let's say around $150 a week. Whereas in Melbourne, Sydney, you are spending at least $170 to $200 per week if you want a room by yourself. So the cost of living is going to be a lot lower as well. So these are the 3 important points that you should consider while moving to Australia, whether you want to move to regional area or not. Let's talk about the cons now. Let's talk about the negatives, why people don't want to move to regional area. And the first thing is very obvious. Because it's a regional area, there is not a lot of industries there. Not many major companies are there in regional areas, and that's why lack of job opportunities. Not everybody ends up finding a job as soon as they move to a regional area. Sometimes it's really hard to find a job, but there are people in Melbourne and Sydney who also find difficult to find a job. So if you're moving to a regional area and you're ready to work hard, there are job opportunities, but comparatively they are much lower compared to Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, because they are not as big cities. Another negative is that there are just not as many people. For example, I come from Ahmedabad, which is not one of the major cities of India, but still we have around 6 to 7 million people living in my city. So when I moved to Melbourne and when I looked around, this is big city, but there are not enough people there. So if you move to a regional area, definitely you are going to feel that there are not enough people And you might feel that it's really hard to live in like small town and stuff, but once you get used to it, it's gonna be amazing. You are going to live in a country town. You are going to see the real Australia, not just developed cities, but what it is like, to have kangaroos just like 10-20 kilometers away from wherever you're living. That's what regional areas are like. It's hard to settle down there, but if you like to live in small places, small towns, then that is the place to go to because the benefits are amazing. And the third thing is lack of diversity. Because these are regional areas, a lot of migrants move to Melbourne and Sydney, or even Brisbane in that matter, because they are big cities. So because a lot of people don't move to these regional areas, that's why those cities and the people living there may not have seen a lot of diversity. You might not find people from, let's say, 100 different countries, and you might not be able to make friends from like 50 different countries. That might be a little difficult because the new laws are coming into place. That's why a lot of people will be moving to regional areas. So the good part is that the cost of living will be lower. You'll get 5 extra points and 1 year extra for your post-study work visa. And the negatives are that there are lack of job opportunities. The people will be a lot less compared to wherever you're coming from. And the third thing being there will be lack of diversity. If you're up for these things, then regional is the place to go. Definitely 100% consider that. Apart from Melbourne, Sydney, look at Adelaide, look at Hobart, look at Northern Territory, look at Gold Coast and Perth when you're considering your options, because in all these cities there are major universities when you come to Australia. Hope you found this quick video really helpful. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, share this video with your friends who are planning to come to Australia to study. This video will definitely help them make a decision. If you haven't liked this video, like this video and write in the comment section, would you be willing to move to a regional area for the benefits that are provided now? See you in the next video.